Hey guys, Ivan here, and in this video we have a couple of very interesting topics. We're gonna start though with Heath, who just revealed his cycle, his current cycle. Now, right off the bat, I just have to say this is not the cycle that Heath used to use when he was competing. I would even call this a cycle, really. I mean, he partnered up with HRT and Peptide Clinic, and they asked him what is his favorite injectable stack. So he names a couple of compounds with crazy names, and it sounds like he revealed his heavy cycle, but in fact this is like majority of this stuff is like health stuff, and like almost I wouldn't even call it a stack once again. So let me show you what he actually says he's taking, and I'll explain to you if you don't know what these are. I'll explain briefly what they're doing and what these compounds actually are. Let's take a look at this.
Favorite injectable stack with Transcend. Started out in the morning, BPC 157 and TB 500 for sure.
So BPC 157 and TB 500 are two peptides that are often used in combination when you have joint problems. I've never tried this myself, I never really had any bad joint issues, but I heard from many people that this actually really works. If you can find the real stuff, if you're not buying something underground, if you have an HRT clinic that can prescribe a real thing for you, then yeah, I heard this really does wonders, really helps repair the joints. So even though those two names sound like something crazy, I don't know, it's really just joint help. And you're looking at Phil's physique right now, his current physique, and obviously he doesn't look like he's taking a lot of gear right now. Let me show you exactly what else he's taking.
Before I train, IGF-1, I love that. And before I go to sleep, I'm taking that tesamorelin, ipamorelin, and I sleep like a baby. And I wake up and I feel a lot leaner. One cool thing about that is I don't have the carpal tunnel and I don't have the insulin sensitivity problems that I once had doing human growth hormone. So that's really a good injectable stack that I do.
Alright, so he says he's using IGF-1, which is insulin-like growth factor 1, and that stuff I heard. I never really got a chance to use it because it's extremely rare to find the real thing, but I think back in the day it was more common to find the real stuff. And from what I heard from older people, like who used to compete back in the 90s, early 2000s, people who actually had the opportunity to try the real stuff. Actually, one of my friends who is like my age found it once, and he said it works like crazy. Like he never looked fuller and bigger. It just worked like crazy, and that's what I hear from everybody else. Like that's the growth factor that you have in growth hormone, in GH. Like GH has a couple of benefits like mobilizing fat cells, so it has fat burning effect, regeneration, anti-aging, stuff like that, but it also has the growth factor, and that peptide IGF-1 is the actual growth factor that you get from growth hormone. It is exactly what is creating the hyperplasia, the creation of new cells, stem cells. So that stuff is like really anabolic, like that's no joke, that's good stuff, if it is real. If you find it like, underground lab for like, I don't know, 20 bucks, 30 bucks, then that's just water, don't even bother trying it. But if you can get a real stuff, then yeah, that's real stuff, that really works. And it's pretty strong, but I'm sure he's not using like a super high amount. And then also he says he's using tesamorelin, which is basically the same as ibutamoren or MK677. It is a growth hormone releasing peptide. So you take that and your body releases more growth hormone naturally, and he takes that before bed. And as he says, he doesn't give him the common side effects that GH gives him. And I'm sure he was using a ton of GH when he was competing, when he was winning Mr. Olympias, and now he's taking all this stuff just to stay healthy and to maintain a certain amount of muscle mass and to stay lean. So truly this is not a heavy cycle, not even close, and he didn't even say anything about anabolics. And let me show you what he's using as far as anabolic steroids.
And then obviously I'm doing 200 milligrams of testosterone cypionate.
And as far as anabolics, he's only using TRT dose of testosterone cypionate, only 200 milligrams of testosterone. You can argue that TRT is actually 100 milligrams or less or more, but that's a very common range. It's usually between 100 milligrams and 250. Maybe Phil is not as sensitive to it, so he needs to use a little bit more, or he just wants to have a little bit higher testosterone. 500 would be like a lot. I wouldn't call that a TRT, but 200 milligrams of cypionate is You can call that a TRT. So as you can hear, he is basically on TRT and a couple of other peptides to help him recover, maintain some muscle, and maintain solid body fat, and just stay healthy, maintain joint health, which I'm sure he has issues from all the heavy lifting over the years. So yeah, that's about it. Nothing crazy. I mean, very, very mild. When you hear all these names, if you don't know what they are, you might think, wow, he's still using a lot, but really, it's nothing. It's nothing compared to what he was using back in the day. And in a Cutler podcast, he actually did say a little bit more about what he was using back in the day, so you can get the idea. But he says he was using like the usual stuff, like what everybody else is taking, nothing crazy. I wasn't surprised. He was just a little bit more honest, a little bit more open. You can take a look at that podcast. He goes more into specifics. But as for right now, the way he's looking, you can see right here, what he's using is just like TRT and health. I would even call it a cycle, a stack. So there you go, guys. Tell me what do you think about this stack in the comment section down below. Alright, so we are 3 weeks out of Arnold Classic, Ohio, and this is Patrick Moore. Now, this guy, like almost everybody has him placing last at the Arnold Classic. I mean, he used to be like very popular back in the day when he appeared out of nowhere and placed 10th at the Mr. Olympia 2019, and since then a lot of people have been talking about him, but then he kind of didn't really live up the expectations, and he was kind of known for arguing with the fans, and as you can see, he has like big ego. Like you can see it in the captions, like he's talking about himself like he's the best bodybuilder ever, like he's Mr. Olympia. And yeah, I mean, sure, he achieved great success again, even though that lineup in 2019 wasn't really that deep. Still, 10th in the world was a crazy success in the Open. However, after that, he never really looked quite as good. And now he's doing the Arnold Classic, and as I was worried back, let's say 5-6 weeks out, I'm still worried that he's not gonna be in shape, because looking at his conditioning right now, he looks, to me at least, he looks like he's, I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks out. He doesn't look 3 weeks out. And these bodybuilders, they tend to be ready usually at 2 weeks out, most of them. And then they kind of have a rebound, sort of a rebound that actually they run into the show. So when they're already shredded 2 weeks out, they just get fuller and rounder, and they bring that fullness and roundness to the stage. Rarely do you ever see bodybuilders, open bodybuilders, do the diet like into the show. They are usually ready 2 weeks out, and Patrick is definitely not ready right now, not even close. And you can't really see it in this photo, but let me show you his back double bicep photo. I don't know about you guys, but to me it seems like he's running late. Can he make it? Sure, I'm sure he can if he really started pushing things now. But if he really started to force his conditioning now, he would probably lose some of that fullness, which I don't think is the best strategy for him, because he doesn't have that much muscle. Like, he's not one of the biggest guys that he can actually allow himself to lose any tissue. I don't think he can lose anything, because he's already smaller than the entire lineup. And now if he starts pushing things, which I'm pretty sure he will have to if he wants to make it, then I'm sure he's gonna lose some of that muscle. So I don't think things are looking very good for Patrick right now. Honestly, I wouldn't even be too surprised if he pulled out of Arnold Classic because of some health issues or something like that, some other excuse. We'll see if he's gonna go all the way, but as for right now, I don't really think he's gonna do too well. I mean, he's smaller than everybody else, and he's not in shape in 3 weeks out, guys. The other guys are in much, much better shape, like Sean Clarida, like Samson, like Nick Walker. I'm gonna show you in a second what these guys are looking like. There is another guy who is, you would say, running late with conditioning, but that's his usual tactic. It's Justin Rodriguez. As you can see, he's not in great shape at 3 weeks out. The other guys, once again, are in much, much better shape than this, but this is Justin's common tactic. He always does this, because I listened to Cement Factory AJ Sims, his former coach. Actually, I'm not even sure if he is his former coach, because yeah, he used to coach him and then they stopped working together, and Justin went to George Farah, but as you heard, George Farah doesn't coach big guys anymore. So, and he's not tagging. Justin is not tagging anybody. So is Justin preparing himself now, or is he actually prepped by AJ Sims once again? Because AJ posted a couple of photos of Justin back when he was prepping him. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. Maybe he's just showing his results with him because they used to work together, but maybe they're actually back together. I don't know. Anyways, I listened to AJ Sims about when he talked about Justin and his approach to preps. And when he brought best conditioning, it was when he started prepping late. I think it was, when he won Indy Pro 2021, a week before he did the New York Pro against Nick Walker. Like, he decided to do that show like 4 weeks out, and he was nowhere near in shape, but he was big. He was in the off season, and they started really slamming it down. Like, he was eating almost no carbs, very, very low food, a lot of cardio, and it actually turned out to be like a really good strategy. Like, he was as big as he was bigger than ever, and he was super shredded. And from that point on, you could have seen Justin always does the same thing. Like, he looks like he's late, but in the end, he tightens it up and he shows up in great conditioning. If he doesn't bring great conditioning, he has really bad structure, like very wide waist, very ugly looking abs, legs are not great. He has like a lot of issues with his physique, like a lot of flaws, and the only way he can hide them is when he's super, super peeled. So when he misses his peak, he doesn't look very good, but him being in this shape at 21 days, 3 weeks out of Arnold Classic, doesn't make me worried, because I know what he can do in those couple of weeks. As far as Patrick Moore, I don't know. Maybe he is trying a different tactic. Maybe he's gonna try and do the same thing as Justin. Maybe it's gonna work out, maybe not. I wouldn't risk it like this. If I was Patrick Moore, I would be ready in time. I wouldn't be running late like he is right now. But it is what it is. You guys tell me down below in the comment section, what do you think? Is he going to be ready, and what can he do? Is he actually going to be last place like everybody is saying, or is he going to be able to beat anybody in that lineup? I don't know, guys. You tell me down below. Here's what I was saying, like Nick Walker right now, 3 weeks out, he just posted a couple of photos. Also there in the angle you can see him pushing the stomach out, but it's not as bad as the photo that I posted. And like a lot of comments were like, it's common, it's normal, you need to do this to stretch the skin on your lower back to make it look even more detailed. But I don't know about this. I mean, I listened to Arnold Schwarzenegger saying that your waist actually looks smaller if you keep your stomach in. And also he was talking about you don't want to see those bubble guts when everybody turns around, because cameras are everywhere, there are people in the background. Like, yeah, the judges and the audience won't see it, but somebody will see it, and like we don't want to see that ever. And I completely understand what Arnold is saying. Anyways, regardless, let's not talk about that. Let's take a look at Nick's conditioning and his overall package at 3 weeks out. And again, I still believe he is the heavy favorite. And his conditioning is really good. As you can see, his glutes are almost shredded completely. He's taking it slowly. No need to rush. He didn't gain any body fat after the Mr. Olympia pretty much. Very, very little. So he took it slowly. He was ready early. And as you can see, at 3 weeks out, he's in great conditioning. Like, if he wanted, he could start the peak week right now. But no, he's gonna do the perfect formula that always works the best for these big guys. He's probably gonna be dieting and depleting himself for another week, and then for the last 2 weeks he's gonna do that sort of kind of like a rebound, where he actually fills out the muscle, where he takes some rest, where his body comes to life, and eventually on the Arnold Classic stage, he's gonna be just much bigger, much fuller than he's right here, with the same conditioning, actually better conditioning. I think it's gonna be better in 1 week, but from that point on, I don't think he's gonna push for more conditioning because he's pretty much ready. He just needs to work on refreshing his body and getting it fuller. But I gotta say, he does look great overall. I think he looks a little bit better than he looked those 3 weeks out of Mr. Olympia, so I think he's gonna bring something better. And I think they actually already fixed that imbalance with his arms. I don't think his arms are that dominant anymore. Probably Matt completely forbid Nick to train arms during this time period. And as you can see, I don't know if you can notice, but I think I can notice, I think his arms are a little bit down in size, which looks better, which looks great. I think everything else just looks more impressive and his physique looks more balanced. Maybe I'm tripping, but I'm pretty sure I'm seeing that. I don't know, what do you guys think? Tell me down below. Oh, and yeah, Nick Walker actually thinks that the runner-up, or actually Nick's biggest competition this show, is Sean Clarida, in fact. Or is he just saying that because they are in the same team, they are both coached by Matt Jansen? I don't know, but I think he does make a lot of sense if he actually believes this. I don't think I would argue with that. I can see that happen. Anyways, guys, tell me your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And for more bodybuilding stuff like this, subscribe to my channel, guys. Thank you so much for watching. All the best and bye-bye.